Okay, is the screen visible?
Yeah, Rajesh, it's visible.
Okay, super. Okay, just a quick recap on what we did so far. So before I can start, I'll close this windows. These things I'll get. Okay, I'll close it. Okay, good. So just a quick recap on what did we do these 18 days. Today is 19th day, which is a month. Okay, so we started with the where it is day one. Um, okay, so we started with the core Java. We wrote a simple program. We configured Maven. So you know how to configure Maven now. It's Maven is nothing but a pom.xml file to pull out the jars. Actually, Maven is more than that. Maven is a build tool. It's an automated. It is used for automated building and automated deployment and compilation. So all those things we are just using for the compilation part. So it is a pom.xml. Whatever Maven repository URL we are going to give, the Maven is going to pull out all the jars and create one folder as Maven dependencies, and these jars will be automatically downloaded. So then we executed the main program. Day two, we went on with object creation on how to create objects, then how to call the methods in another class. So we created different classes and we created the methods and we called. Then we went on with interface. Interfaces are the contracts with which we can achieve uniformity. By this, uh, the individual developers will not have their own method names or their own arguments. It all will be standard, and they just have to implement it and write their own functionality. The functionality will depend on the developers. Then we went on with inheritance. So it's a parent class and child class extension. We went on with the access modifier, which is public, private, protected, and default. With some example we saw, we have configured. Now we know how to configure the log4j, and instead of printing to sysout, we can print it to log4j. We studied three collections in Java: list, set, and map, and its uses, how to go into the documentation, how to find all the methods which are available for the collections, and what are the differences between set and list. We saw with some examples. We went on with our first Pojo creation, where we create the Pojo is nothing but a simple Java object, plain old Java object, where it will have just a attribute, a getters, and a setter method. We learned how to pass Pojo objects between the classes, add add the variables to the Pojo. We also did capturing of input from the console. We created the object, we set it into the object, and we passed between the classes. Next step, we studied the exceptions. What are the different types of exception? What is an exception? And the keywords, which is throw, throws, finally. Try, catch, throw, throws, finally. This is how, in a rhyming way, you have to remember, because that's a standard interview question. What's the difference between throw, throws, finally? So we saw the differences with the program. Then yeah, we saw this. Okay, we went on with our first HTML creation and CSS creation. We set our CSS is to beautify the HTML. HTML is hypertext markup language. It is used to display the content to the user. And a simple HTML we created. Then we saw the different layers, like the user interface layer, what all are there, the different web technologies, and in the middle layer where it is. So the program flow from the blue box, which is the user interface layer, it goes into the green box, which is the server. From there, it calls the core Java program. It fetches the database and comes back. We haven't touched the database yet. We'll be dealing it in the later classes. Then we went on with our first uh, primitive and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types are the default or inbuilt data types which came with Java and which is not storing the values as object. Non-primitive data types stores the value as an object. And we studied the case statement, how to use the case, what is boxing, unboxing, wrapper classes, which is integer.parseInt, string.parseString, double.parseDouble. So these are all wrapper classes. Then yeah, we went through again with the basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap. So I showed you how to access the Bootstrap and how to take the menu from it and place it in our code. Then we moved our journey to servlets. Being in the core Java for a long time, we created our first servlet. So a servlet, the difference between a servlet and the core Java program is core Java program can run by itself using the main method, but servlet cannot run by itself. It needs a container to run. The container is called Tomcat, JBoss, WebSphere, WebLogic, or whatever, Kubernetes. So whatever container you name, the container is like a fish tank which provides the necessary water for the fishes to survive. The fish is the servlet here, which is nothing but the Java program. Whereas the standalone main program was itself a fish tank. It didn't need any of the external fish tank. So we created the servlet. The servlets are created very easily just by extending the HTTP servlet. We used Jakarta servlet. So I still have to tell you what is the difference between Jakarta and the regular Java X. Java X was the one used all these 15 years. First time the servlet has undergone a change and they have gone into Jakarta package. That we'll deal later. Then we saw the servlet life cycle. How a servlet is born, how does it serve our request, and how it is destroyed. It is init service destroy. So this is again you have to remember a very important question. And then okay, these are all the draft. So to create a web application, we need to create a Tomcat. We create a web project in the Eclipse. And after that, we place the Jakarta servlet API library in the build path. We created the servlet. Then we have to have the web.xml. That's heart of the web app that shows the entry point and which connects all the servlets with the container. And we have to make sure the classes are inside the class folder. We saw the history of various Java technologies from struts to Spring Boots. The MVC we saw like the model view controller. Controllers are the servlets, models are the PO POJOs, and the views are the JSP page. The container I just explained. The features of the container, which is like a fish tank, which has a socket communication support, security, lifecycle managing, multi-threading, JSP supports. All these are provided inbuilt, and so we go with a container. So this is how, this is just a screenshot of how the program, the folder structure of a Java web application will look like. So these are different IDEs. Then we saw what is a protocol. How do we read the web address? So the first is the protocol, second is the server address, third is the port, fourth is the context, last one is the resources, and if you have a question mark, that is a parameter. So here it is point number 5 to 7. Point number 7 to 11 shows the program flow from calculate from the URL as soon as we hit the URL to the point when we get the output. These are all just the same thing. So we saw what is an HTTP, how the web serves the response, and okay, so we saw the server client architecture. When you request a web page, let's say YouTube or any other website, google.com, Gmail, how the request goes to the server and how it is responded. The same client server architecture. So we created a Spring Boot in like 10 minutes. Whatever we did in servlet, the same ditto program we created in Spring Boot just using annotations. And we saw an important keyword DI and IOC, which is dependency injection and inversion of control. This is achieved by using the word auto wiring, where the objects are automatically referenced and provided by the Bean factory. So these are the different modules in Spring, which was started in 2003, nearly now 19 years, 18 years. Okay, now we saw about different mobile development frameworks. These are the frameworks which are available in markets. And the important concept of what is library versus what is a framework. And so different frameworks. Okay, Spring framework and Spring Boot. Why did we go for Spring? And the structure of a Spring Boot application. We touched like few minutes on the responsive, which is off from the Spring application, but which comes in the mobile. I mean, mobile come web world, web development world. So auto wiring I spoke. Okay, like 2 days before we saw the AOP, aspect oriented programming, which is the advantage of Spring, and using that how to configure a logger so that without writing any sysout statements or log statements in the function, we can automatically make the Spring write the logger for us. And then yeah, yesterday we saw about the services, REST API and web services. So, and we saw how to create a simple REST service using the Spring Boot. So we have seen so far. That is day 18. So today we will continue with one more important topic, filters. Day 19, filters. Okay. So far, when I hit a URL, I was getting a response. Okay, my server is down. Yes. When I hit a URL, I was getting a JSP pages response. Now we have something known as filters, meaning as soon as I hit this URL, it is going to come and it is going to enter into the controller, greeting controller. This section it is going to come in and it is going to enter into this function. It is going to go here. But there might be some scenarios or use cases where before the control reaches the greeting controller, I want to do some checks like whether the person hitting the URL is an authenticated person and whether the session is valid. So I might want to do some prerequisite checks before I can allow the request to pass into the controller. In that cases, we have this filters, which is like in the regular world, a filter is something which will filter out the impurities or unwanted thing and will pass through only when it is valid. So when we put a filter in the water, the impurities in the water will be filtered and only the water will be allowed. Same way, if some junk data comes in, some junk request comes in, those are all impurities. Those will be filtered by the filter class, and only if it is a valid will be allowed to proceed to the controller. So that is, this is one of the security feature which can be used in any ways using the use cases. But the core logic of filter is to check the request and filter out, and then based on whether we can allow it or not, we will be passing it through the controller. Clear so far?
Yeah, Rajesh.
So let's take one example and do this. So I am going to create one filter. Creation of filter is, I will have one src java. I have a filter folder. I will right click. I will create a class and I will name it as my own filter. And I have to, how did we create a servlet? We implemented HTTP servlet class, servlet interface. The same way, not servlet, we extended HTTP servlet class. Here we have to implement the filter. If I type filter, I'll get all the filter class available. I will select the Tomcat. Okay, Tomcat class, and I will finish. So if you see, automatically there is a method which is implemented, which is override method, which means we have to write our logic here. So I'll just go ahead and give a sysout. Control has come inside my own filter. Okay. Now there should be something else we have to do to tell that this is a filter. We have to, I'll just copy this, copy the this. Okay, I don't have it. I just have to give at component, and then I have to give what is the order. I'll come to order like sometime later. Now at order I'll give, let's say I'll give 99, which means if there are some other things before this, you finish it, then at 99th order you execute this statement. So that is the so this becomes a this becomes a filter, and it gets registered with the Spring Boot application. Now let me start the Spring Boot. So what should happen now is, all the request, all the URL which is getting hit or which we ask for in the controller will pass through this statement, this sysout, and then will reach the controller.
Yeah,
Actually,
Rajesh. I'm good.
okay. So I just have to give one more. Okay, what is the error? Fail to start. Is it something running? Okay, something is wrong. I was working on something this morning to display. What did I do? Cannot invoke object because cause is null. It is coming from code generation exception. Okay. Method proxy CGI lib. Okay. Root classes serving content application. Spring application. Okay. Let me remove this once. That component, my component implements filter. So chain dot do filter. This correct only. Where is the chain? Okay, this here it is. Chain object is will be coming. And we will after executing the sysout, I'll be calling back. Okay, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? I will comment this out. Okay, yeah, correct. Because of this only it's coming. And still one or more filter field to start. Full details will be found in appropriate container. Unable to start the server, unable to start embedded Tomcat. Okay, my own filter, custom filter. Yeah, let me go this share. I was trying out some POC before the session and I left the system as it is. No, there is something else. One or more filters failed to start. Okay, object.get class because cause is null. Okay, let me delete this filter. I will just have this. Okay, I'll see the history. In Eclipse, you can see the history by right clicking local history, compare with. This will give all the versions you saved. When did you save and what changes you made? Everything will be stored here. So 7:16 p.m. I did a change. Okay, what did I change? I wrote one empty file. Okay, then local history compare with 770. Okay, 770 is this method. It is same. And the local history replace with 717 version. Replace. Let's see. Okay, it is correct only. Okay, I'll refresh the code and see. Project. When is it? We start the session. It's not starting. I'll try it. No, maybe the order is missing. Let me try once. But on at component implements filter, this implements filter at order of one. Something else is causing. Acceptance status custom filter. Cannot invoke object null pointer. This does not work I'll try this option. There's one more option to start. There's no reason for not working. It was working so far good. This works good. No. Okay. I'll delete these two lines and maybe I have to restart system. I'll try after the session and update you because that was working so far good. That's all the code is. We have to implement the filter and just give annotation as at component. What will happen is whatever URL you hit, this sysout will come. But let me try once again. If this does not still work, then there's some problem with the machine.
Maybe you can close the Java program and you can start again.
Yes, I can. Yeah, I'll try that. Okay, this way it is starting. Yeah. So this is one more way where if you give this way of filter, what will happen is all the URL will be passing through the filter. But if I don't want all the URL to pass through the filter, the reason being if we allow all URL, it is an execution time. 1 second will be taken extra for all the URL because it has to go through the filter and then come back and then proceed to the controller. Instead of that, if I want only particular URL to pass through, then I have to remove this at component here and I have to give this as a bean. Bean is nothing but an object. New of a class we give, right? That's an object. And this is an inbuilt filter registration bean from Spring. This helps in creation of filter. And what class has to be registered as filter? The custom filter class. And here we have to set a URL, registration beat dot add URL. If you go to the documentation, we can see this will accept a filter class and it will accept an URL. So this means any URL which has welcome in it only will be passed through the filter. If the URL is not welcome, this will not be passed through the filter. Let us try it out. So I have multiple URLs now. I have greeting, I have welcome, and I have calculator. If I give greeting, I should not get this sysout. From the custom filter, I have given a sysout. This is the filter I am calling there also. Just that the place I am calling is different. Here also, if you see, I am calling the custom filter. I am passing the custom filter class, which I created, but with only one URL. So this sysout will work. This will become a filter. I don't know why this is not working. I'll check and tell you tomorrow. Okay, this is ready. If we go and hit greeting, the page should come, but the filter should not execute. Okay, it is not going inside the filter. This didn't come up. This is working from AOP. Now, if I
Rajesh,
do,
we are not getting any error here.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. When I started through this, we didn't get error. This is another way of creating a filter. Through this way, we can only make the filter work for particular URL. For other URLs, the control will not go into the filter. Do you get that?
Just I am checking where I am doing, where we are doing wrong. I got the, the business was here.
Okay. Here we are only passing particular URL. So URL pattern. If we give welcome, now if I give welcome, let us check this. It should first go to filter. It has gone into the filter. This one, starting a transaction. This is inside the filter. So starting a transaction, then it is doing the logic, then committing a transaction. It is coming out of the filter. So filter is like a wrapper which covers between the business logic. Through filter only it has to enter, and through filter only it has to come out. So this way of URL is working. Let me again try it. What is wrong? But this will only allow particular URLs to go into the filter. I'll comment this, and here I'll do a at component, at component, and at order. Let me give second. This filter has to be loaded. It is inside new package also. No. Okay, I'll check it out. Not an issue. There will be something very simple change which I have done unknowingly. I don't want to take it in the class. I'll take it offline. Okay, but otherwise filter concept is that's all. So it is for filtering out the request and response, mostly used for security purpose and authentication. When a request comes, along with the request we'll have a header. So in the filter we'll check the header if it is authenticated or not. So those kind will be done here. Is this okay? Hello.
Yeah, it's clear, Rajesh.
Okay, super. Okay, so tomorrow being a Friday, I will give a gist about what we are going to see next. Something different from the servlets, JSPs, HTML.
Rajesh, can you please review the today's class? That means, can you the main points what we did
Summary,
today?
right? Okay.
Yeah,
So
summary.
we started with filters. Filters are a class or a wrapper class which is used to identify or intercept will be the correct word, which is used to intercept all requests. It's like a gatekeeper, a security in your house to help to make you understand in your normal day-to-day terminology. A security to your house, you have to pass through him and then enter into your house. Again, when someone is going out, he has to pass through him. So what he will do, he will check whether if you go to a company or an airport, he is going to check whether you are carrying any weapons. The same way,
We can say like firewall.
firewall is a high concept.
I concept. Okay.
Yeah. Filter does not have all those sophisticated features to be called as a firewall. Firewall is a giant. Uh, and mostly firewall intercepts at the network protocol port level. Filter does not do that. Filter has control only when something has crossed the port and reached. Firewall has a control before the port itself. but filter does not. Example is, let's say you access facebook.com in your organization. If they have a firewall setup and they have given facebook.com has to be banned or restricted, as soon as you hit facebook.com, firewall will not even reach that site. It will not even try to reach the site. It will block. But what filter will do is it will allow the request to come in, but it is going to take the hit and block, and it will not process. So it is not like firewall. Firewall is more heavy than filter, but to understand, you can have in your mind as a very minute level of firewall, like 1% of the firewall, which does the protection feature. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so filters are the gatekeepers to intercept the request and response. So how do we create a filter? Just we have to extend the filter class, filter interface. Implement means it's an interface. So this filter is available in Java x.servlet package. Once we implement the filter, we have a do filter method. We have to override that, and the logics whatever we have to write, we can write it. And the main is you have to allow proceeding. Chain.do filter means okay, proceed. I have done something, then you proceed. If you don't give this line, it means you have come here, I have done something, stop, you go back.
Rajesh, where this one exactly used in Java? I mean, in real-time scenario, the filters.
In real time, every application will have a filters configured. I said right, when someone is accessing, let's say we have an Angular application,
Okay.
and we have this REST API in return, right? Yesterday we saw how to hit this API and how to get the response back through the
Okay.
ARC. So when someone is calling from Angular, it will come into the filter first. Okay, and along with what we will tell to the person is, along with the request, you send a header and you pass a token which I am giving you. So in filter, what it will do, it will come with the token. Here we will check whether the token is valid or not. If it is not valid, someone is trying to attack our system. But if it is valid,
Okay.
we'll know that okay, this request is a valid request, I have to process it. So in all the web application will have a filter. They will have a filter configured.
Okay.
And filters are used to prevent unauthorized access to the resources. So if the request is not going to contain a header or authorization token, we should not allow them to access our images or videos or directories, whatever it is. So those are all done in filter. We will write one demo project at the end of this training. Like a week's time, I'm going to dedicate in developing a demo project where we will cover all the concepts. Whatever we studied, we will cover it and we will write one demo project. That time, we'll see the real example of it. But otherwise, now itself we know this. It is going to filter. Here, I can have a condition in the request. I can check whether request is having attribute like a token. If it is having, then chain.do filter allow, else return, which means it will not allow. So this itself we can use. Got it? Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening, Rajesh. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Any more questions you have? Like any doubts?
I'm clear where is it?
Okay.
Just for if it is like
Security purpose mainly.
security purpose. Okay.
Mainly filters are used for security purpose. Otherwise, there is no check, right? Whether the URL which is coming is a valid or not. There is no check. So next, creating a filter is using the implements keyword and implement the filter. We write the logic here. and we give an annotation at component, it will become a filter. It will be registered to the boot. The other way of creating a filter is, once you create a class without giving the at component, we give a at bean syntax, and this is a syntax you will, this is a standard syntax you will get, and we just pass to, we need to pass our own class which we created here and the URL. This way of creating a filter is to block only specific URL. Example, we have a URLs for accessing the bank total amount, the account total amount, let's say. So there is a URL which says get balance, get account balance, and we are going to return what is the balance in the account. That URL alone we have to make it secure, because that is returning the balance of a customer. We are not worried about other things, as it is all about customer name. Those things are all okay, but the detail I need to be very secure. Then I'll place only that as a filter. Why I'm not placing other things? It is cost. Filter is a cost. Cost, cost means in terms of time, in terms of response time, it is a cost. When you have a filter to all the URL, your every request will be increased by 1 second roughly. For example, I'm telling. So when I hit the URL here, earlier if I used to get in 1 second, now I'll get in 1.5 seconds. It is going to take some extra time. So we have to,
Rajesh, the thing, these things will come under certificate renewal also, right? In the servers, the thing what you are saying,
no, certificate is different.
that is
Certificates
different.
are applied at the server level.
Okay.
What certificate means is, if you see a URL,
Mhm.
I'll go. Okay. This is not working. Okay, let me go to
You can take Amazon, they will have certificate.
Amazon.com. Okay. Certificates are something which is spoken by browser and the server. Here, if you see that this lock is there, if you click on that lock, they will tell what is the TLS.
Okay, that means before the any URL entering into the server, it's going to check with the certificate. That's what we are telling.
Correct. The server is going to do the check. Even before the URL comes, the server is going to check who is calling. That is what the certificate means. Here it is not displaying, but certificate is valid. It will display like TLS version 1.1 or 2. So this certificate means this browser, it when it is going to send the data to this the Amazon.com, it is sending the request and the Amazon is replying back. It is replying back in a secure way. Not this file. We have one more file. I'll try to see it. It's not here. There is one more file where it will be showing the details of
The details were there, general details app.
yes, for which
You are,
protocol it is using, TLS 1.1 or TLS 2 1.2. So all those details here also, they have like more details like serial number, what's the algorithm they are using. So this is certificate is something which is spoken between browser and the server.
Rajesh, one more thing you are telling, TLS means it's a
TLS is it's a protocol for security. TLS, I think 1.2.
it's a one of the language for security. That's what I'm telling.
Yes. TLS 1.2. This is the security protocol using which the 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 data is sent. In the network protocol, we have 7 layers of protocol in the network. We have the web layers, security layer.
Yeah, I remember those
I don't,
7
yeah,
layers.
I don't remember the names exactly, but we have 7 layers in a network protocol. Any data has to transfer the 7 layers. So one of those layer is the transport layer. Okay.
Oh, that is okay.
So we have 1.3 now. So if earlier it was 1.1 on 1.2, so that means the browser will be sending the data in 1.2, 1.3, and the server, they both will be talking in this frequency. If something is not upgraded, it is going to throw an error. So it is more secure.
Okay, that means the
1.3 was
certificate and the browser.
no, certificate is something. Um, okay, certificate is something which the server is registered to the third party, and someone is authorizing that yes, this domain belongs to this person. Okay, the way it works is, let's say you are hosting a website as Amazon.com. Let's say fake website like Amazon.com. You want to get it certified, and you want to make it up. What you will do, you will, let's say you cannot purchase the same domain because it's taken. Okay, so you will get a different domain name. Now
Okay.
you to get this lock, what this lock means is the browser is able to receive the response from Amazon, and it is able to detect that Amazon is sending in a secure way, which is SSL, through an SSL port number 443. In a secure way it is sending. That is what this lock means. This lock
Okay.
is given by browser. Chrome gives
Okay.
this lock. How
Okay.
does it know this lock has to be given? Is based on the response received. Now, once you host a server, if you, okay, I have one website. It is not, I have not protected with SSL. So if I call this website, you will not see a protected layer. You will just see it is not protected. Why it's not loading?
Okay. And how that certificate is interconnected with the TLS 1.2 or something, the version.
The TLS is the protocol. How the data is. See, whenever you are sending a data and you are receiving a data, you will know through which channel it is coming, right? When you are getting a parcel, you'll know whether you got from a
Here it is
bike.
443.
Port is 443. Okay.
Okay.
So if you see here, this site is not secure because I am not protected with the SSL. Now, if I need to protect this site with SSL, what this means is I have to go and approach a third party person who will be providing the certification, who will tell that yes, this guy is a genuine guy, and his server will, whatever data his server is going to send you will be a secure data. So I have to go to him. I will tell that, okay, sir, I have a website hosted. I need a SSL. He doesn't know whether I really have a website or not. Correct? I can open
Okay.
this and show to him, but it doesn't mean I am the owner of the website. Correct?
Okay.
Since I show you this website, it doesn't mean I own this website. So what he will tell, okay, you are telling you own this website, you want this to be secure. I'll give you a file. If you are really the owner, go and place this file in your website, because only a real owner can place it. I
Okay.
cannot enter into every website and place the security file. So he'll give
Mhm.
one file. For getting that file, he will ask you generate one. We call it as CSR, certificate signing request. So
Okay.
as a person, I have to generate one file from my server and give it to him. What he will do, he will use the file which I gave. He will generate one certificate and he will give it to me. I have to place the file in the same server where I generated the original CSR. If I place it in some other server, it is not going to work.
In my server, I created CSR. I'm going to give to the certificate authority team. What
Correct.
they will do, they will keep in their server the same certificate what I given. Just they will match, they will sign it and they will give. That's it.
No, they will bundle and create one certificate using the CSR which you have given.
Okay.
So that certificate will be only for you. You have to pay like 4,000, 5,000, depends on the authority. They will give one certificate, and that certificate is valid only for the server you have created. It is not valid for any other machine. From which machine you are going to run the website, from that machine you have to generate and give. So now what happened is the file they gave us is called the cert file, CRT file. We place it in the server. Any request and response coming through our machine or going out of our machine, that file will take care by sending it in TLS protocol, TLS 1.3.
Okay.
That's all. That is how it works.
Okay. Rajesh, here TLS protocol, you mean the protocol is just a language or?
No, TLS protocol is it is a set of rules you can tell. Actually, TLS is a layer. Like we have different layers in the networking, right?
Okay.
So
in networking, it will go through TLS
yeah,
layer.
it will go through TLS layer.
Okay. I'm good, Rajesh.
Yeah, we have different layers. We have the web layer, which is 80 port. We have 443 port, which is the SSL layer, secure socket layer. So it is not easy to enter into those layers networking. So that is how, yeah, that is how TLS works. Okay,
because
why did
I'm asking this question because in my current project I have these things because I don't have anyone to ask, right? Just this is the way I have to ask.
Okay,
and
okay. What is that you are doing? What you
I
have to
told you,
do?
I told you before, right? I already did the certificate binding, and
Okay.
I don't know how the process is going to work in the certificate.
Okay. There are different certificate providers, GoDaddy, Namecheap, many certificate providers have come through. They are all verified, established third party. So we have to purchase from them. For that, we have to give a CSR. They'll send back a CRT file. We have to install that CRT file in the server. That's called certificate installation. So once once installed, it will be secure. Okay. So I think I was about to start something. Tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I will be starting Hibernate. So we saw the core Java layer. We saw the middle layer, which is from the HTML or JSP, how the control is reaching, right? When we hit here, you know now how the control is reaching the controller. You know how to create a JSP. The unknown is after reaching the controller, I want to store in a database. If that is done, the full complete cycle is done. For storing the data into the database, we have this layer. This is layer next to the Spring layer. So this is the first layer, which is the HTML layer. After HTML layer, HTML or JSP layer, we had the Spring Boot layer, the service and DAO. After Spring Boot and DAO layer, we have the Hibernate layer. This is called ORM, and the reason I'm placing over it is this will be merged. The last part of the Spring layer, which is DAO layer, and the ORM layer will be merged, and this will talk with our database. So we covered this, we entered here. Next week we'll be entering into this. Finally, we will go into this and we will retrieve back. After that, we'll go over the standalone, not standalone, a demo project. Is that okay? Hello.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Okay. Okay, great then. So talk to you tomorrow then. Any questions you have before that?
No,
Okay,
we
great.
are clear, Rajesh.
Okay then. Thank you very much. Talk to
Thank
you
you,
tomorrow.
Rajesh.